Good morning. What a great day. Great day to be in this country. Great day to be a member of the United States Army. I tell you, I really appreciate General Swan, your all's hospitality. AUSA has always been an avid supporter of the Army, obviously, Association of the United States Army, not only in word but also in deed by opening up these forums, and they've been doing it for years. And the annual Installation Management Symposium I have always found invaluable, as have my colleagues, to discuss the issues at hand and get insights from you all on how we can improve things. I can tell you it's truly a pleasure to be with you all today. I trust that you will find today's activities beneficial, and the Army team that's here is looking forward to your all's interaction and dialogue. Today's topic, we're going to focus on installations of the future. That's a critical topic because the outcome is paramount to the readiness of our Army. I must say up front that I'm proud to have my longtime friend and installation management partner with us today, General Gwen Bingham, Lieutenant General Gwen Bingham, stated the Assistant Chief of Staff for Installation Management. We changed the form up a little bit where we are both speaking up front together. Why? Because that's how we operate on a day-to-day basis. We work side by side to ensure that the installation strategic direction, policies, funding, service delivery, program assessments, and evaluations are done consistently in accordance with the Secretary of the Army priorities and the Chief of Staff of the Army's intent and priorities. Carrying that further, the IE&E and AXIM team works together to enhance Army mission effectiveness and resilience in a prudent, effective, and forward-thinking manner. I think everybody knows that installations are a crucial component of Army readiness. An Army installation is an integrated system of activities aimed at one outcome, and that is a ready Army. They exist to produce, deploy, and project combat power. This supports the Chief of Staff of the Army's priority of ensuring facilities that enable the speed of delivery and assembly and ultimately deployment. This makes planning for installations of the future, for future generations, our soldiers, our civilians, our family members, crucial. The Army must undertake a deliberative process to consider what installations should do and how we invest in changes today for needs or requirements of the Army. This is similar to cities around the world that are deliberatively planning for their own future. They're studying demographics, politics, economic patterns, and emerging technologies to design attractive and resilient cities for their citizens. The Army must adapt such a deliberative approach while remaining cognizant of the Army's future, warrior ethos, and Army culture. We should not be asking what should installations look like, but rather what do we want installations to do? What do we want installations to do? The Army established processes to examine the future of warfighting and when to adapt changes with the current force. But there are no corresponding processes to research and inform how and when Army installations evolve. While Army installation communities play a key role in attracting, training, and retaining the force, we have not developed a comprehensive means to plan for installation modernization. This must stop, and now is the time to address this gap. The Army, for years, has taken risk in installations to fund training and unit readiness. Thus, resourcing installations has not been part of the Army's focused investment strategy. And I can say that we have been on a failed funding strategy, resource strategy with our installations and facilities. As a consequence, over the last 10 years, when available, we've used year-of-end funds, of course, in the year of execution, as Band-Aid fixes to critical installation needs. And I honed in on what retired General Swan said. This has caused corrosive impact to our installations. Now, the Army is behind in resourcing facility restoration and modernization. We have not been recapitalizing on military construction, as there haven't been enough dollars to keep up with the facility requirements. This is a reality that gets worse each and every year. The Army is experiencing a downward trend in infrastructure condition where 22% of our infrastructure is poor or failing. The result is a situation where we're spending our scarce resources to fix the worst of the worst rather than investing in a deliberative strategy in support of readiness. We cannot take funds from training, unit readiness, or logistics sustainment. And additional top-line funding is unlikely in the immediate future. But regardless, we must move forward with a strategy that quickly adapts to changes in standards and expectations to preclude additional, expensive modifications. When the Army designs for flexibility, as we do with units, if we do that within the infrastructure, we can look at things like multi-purpose buildings. They can be converted and repurposed with changing requirements with minimal resources. With that, we lower restoration and modernization costs. To help change our past reactionary posture, the Army is exploring a futures process modeled on institutional methods that examine the Army's future operating environment as well as activities being used by cities and urban designers to adapt to an evolving environment. This process will have 5 key characteristics. It will be modeled. Just as TRADOC integrates capabilities into the force design, we will have a similar process to determine what we want installations to do. Flexible. It will consider stakeholder input and offer choices to those who work, train, and live on Army installations. It should allow the Army to adjust its footprint depending on conditions and requirements. Collaborative, number 3. It will be informed by academic research and will benchmark with private sector and all industry for best practices, particularly those involving tech development. It must partner with local communities to help deliver services to our military communities following the public-public partnership model. It must be systematic. With that, it needs to be iterative with regularly occurring activities as predictable outputs informed by research and analysis. And last, it must be usable. The process must be oriented towards measuring outcomes. We need to measure outcomes that influence future programming and allocation of resources. We recognize that without a consistent approach, our risk increases. But with predictability comes opportunity to reduce certain risk in areas such as technology risk. We need to minimize obsolescence of Army facilities and systems. Mission risk. We must provide flexibility to meet changing mission requirements. Financial risk. More than ever, we must maximize investments and reduce operating costs. Human capital risk. We must maximize the ability to recruit and retain human talent. Come on in. We can't leave the Command Sergeant Major for Installation Management Command out in the hall. And I trust you all are here today because you are committed. And just looking out here, I know the majority of people out there, you're here and you're committed to support and help the Army provide the best readiness platforms for our great great soldiers that serve this nation. The best communities, comprised of soldiers, civilians, and family members. Creation of premier Army communities begins with a solid process for looking into the future and bringing it into the present. What do we want installations to do? Through the panels in today's events, you will have the opportunity to listen and participate in discussions that will shape how the Army sees its installations in the future. Help us to envision future needs that are enduring and essential to our Army's readiness for whatever lies ahead. You're going to hear from groups addressing what the future may hold in demographics and what large cities are doing. Please participate. Be an active participant in these discussions. Your knowledge and experience is invaluable, is paramount to help us chart a successful course. I look forward to your questions, but we're going to hold on those until after my great battle buddy and longtime friend, Lieutenant General Bingham, talks to you. I give you Lieutenant General Gwen Bingham, the Assistant Chief of Staff for Installation Management. I want to thank you all. May God bless you all. Continue to bless this great nation. Thank you.